This video is going to introduce how to draw a skull in order to create what you might want to turn into a sugar skull design. The sugar skull is from a Mexican holiday called El Dia de Los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead. And I'm going to do a demonstration on how to start a drawing of a skull. If you're a student of mine and you want access to this worksheet, you can go to your Google Docs, and I have an art page, and I will be able to share that with you on there. So if you are not, I will follow these steps right now, and you can pause the video and go step by step with me. So step one is to draw this big curve for the top of the skull. Now this you want, if you want to have your sugar skull be as big as the paper, you want the curve to be fairly large. So you're going to start and make sure you fill up the page widthwise. The second step is to make the shape of the side of the skull and the chin, and I wrote with a star here, rounded corners. If you're drawing a skull, we're not robots, so we want to make sure that we have rounded edges. So I'm going to go all the way down. This line is going sort of in on an angle. Okay. Step three, eyes in the middle. So you're going to draw the eyes and the nose, but before you even do that, you want to find the center of your skull, which should be slightly below this curved line that you made. And if you want to, you can draw a very light guideline. And then when I make the eyes, I make them sort of rounded squares. And they should be fairly big because on a skull, this is the eye cavity, which is where your eyeball lives in your head. And it's large. If you start pressing on your face and you feel your bone structure, it's a fairly large cavity. So the tip of the nose is going to start at that line in the center of your eyes, like a triangle, and then it comes down to look sort of like an upside down heart. And I draw the line because, technically speaking, this is a bone in the middle of your nose called your septum. Alrighty, now we're up to drawing the mouth, which first starts off as a rectangle. And I'm pressing lightly because some of this may get erased. Your rectangle should, if I grab another pencil, should sort of be in the middle of your eyes. So I probably could make this go out a little bit farther. So if you want to know like an appropriate size, it should go, if you put your pencil or a ruler up, it should split your eyes in half. See that? Okay. Step 5 is to draw the cheekbones, and you're going to start from the mouth with a small straight line. So here's the mouth. I'm going to go up and up with a small straight line, and then I'm going to come and curve around. And you're going to pass over this shape here. So you're going to go out and around. Out and around. And you want to try to make them look as similar as possible. So once you do it, you can sort of tweak it. And just for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to get too hung up on perfection because I want to get to the next step. So once you've done that, you want to erase these lines that go through here, because these are your cheekbones. And while you're at it, you might as well erase this guideline that's going through the center of your skull if you drew one. All right, the tricky part tends to be the teeth, and on my worksheet I give a little bit of a step-by-step here. So you're going to start with a bumpy line, and then you're going to draw each tooth individually and then add lines. So when you have your bumpy line, you start with it in the middle of this rectangle, and I would make them fairly big. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I fit 7 bumpy lines. It doesn't matter how many you fit, but the smaller your bumps, the more teeth you have to make. That's all. So from each of these dips in this bumpy line right here at these points, that's where this is one tooth. This is a second tooth. This is a third tooth. So I'm going to make this sort of like individual shapes. And you know, it really, if you're looking for perfection, You could spend forever on this step, but it's really just to give the idea of teeth. So you have 2 rows of teeth. You have top teeth and bottom teeth. All right. And then you make lines going straight up, because this is where your teeth meet your jawbone, or where your gums are. And there you have it. So that looks pretty cool. And then the last step is to shade in or color in the eyes and the nose, and then add some shading to make this look a little more three-dimensional. So I can really quickly show you how to do that as well. So I tell my students, hold your pencil like this, point up, and then start in this deep, deep area right here, dark. And as you go along this bone right here, it's dark, and then as it moves over, it's going to get medium, and then lighter. And then I tell them, my students, to shade just around the edge, come all the way to this side, and then you do the same thing. Dark along here, medium, and light. Okay. And then you can use your finger, or if you have one of those fancy artist tools, the blending stump, you could use that to just soften the pencil a little bit. You don't want to add too much value in towards your forehead, because if you're going to be doing excuse me, a sugar skull, you're going to want to leave some space for some designs. Another area that you want to add some shading would be under the cheekbone, because if you feel in your face, this is soft tissue, and that is a deep hole, I guess, if you were a skeleton. So I go dark, and then I shade down to medium. Don't get any on the teeth. And then go to light. Trace around. And come up to this side and do the same thing. Dark, medium, light. And then you would color in your eyes and your nose. Apparently I'm getting a phone call, so I'm going to end the video here, let you get to work, and then I will do another video to show you your designing.